everyone, and welcome back to the latest episode of At the Office. I'm your host, Simone, and I'm here today with Warren and Anthony. How's it going today, guys?
Popping.
Going good. About the hand warn this L like Seattle took to the Saints this weekend.
Like the Falcons took.
Hey, we're not talking about them.
Well, we definitely have lots to talk about, so let's jump right on in. The Daniel Jones era is officially underway. The rookie quarterback took the field for the first time on Sunday against Tampa Bay and was nothing short of amazing. Jones passed for 336 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with 2 rushing touchdowns to lead his team to an 18-point comeback victory. After this Sunday's performance, did this show that everyone was wrong about Daniel? Anthony, what are your thoughts?
It's too early to tell. I mean, I'm not sold on this dude. He had an amazing game. I will give him that. But we're talking about Tampa Bay's defense, for one. He came up with a lot of stuff that Eli Manning wouldn't have came up with, but that's not saying much. Like, that defense that they were running was specifically because of Eli Manning, it felt like, right? Like, they knew that Eli Manning is not going to rush in like Daniel Jones was on those touchdowns. There's no way Manning's moving like that at all, especially at this age. But I'm not impressed. I'm not going to go ahead and draft this dude as my starting quarterback in fantasy. You know, if he's available on fantasy, I would probably put in, you know, depending who I have as my second or my backup quarterback. I might go and just get him just to see how he plays out for the next couple weeks. But I'm not overly impressed. I know a lot of Giants fans are on cloud 9 with this dude, and they haven't come down yet. But I'm not sold on this dude. It's way too early to tell.
I mean, in a general sense, I agree with it. I agree that it is too early. If I had to answer the question, were we all wrong? I mean, Gettleman, he took a lot of heat for taking him when he did. I mean, he took him high in the draft. He took him over Haskins. We have yet to see what Haskins looks like. So, I mean, you kind of got to compare him to Haskins. And with us not being able to see Haskins, you can't really make a definitive decision.
Yeah.
You know, because Haskins may come out and, you know, he might be the next Mahomes. He might just start throwing touchdowns everywhere because in the preseason, the guy looked good. You know, so it is too early, in my opinion, to say if it was a hit and miss. I mean, he definitely looked good against Tampa Bay, but I mean, he looked better than what Garoppolo did against Tampa Bay, and Garoppolo's not a rookie quarterback, so he had a good outing. You know, there was 2 things about the game that stood out to me about his performance. The first one was him running. You know, like that was. I don't think going into the game anybody expected that, like you said.
Yeah, I didn't see him running like that. No,
exactly.
Not at all.
So like
not
on that read option when he pulled it out and he ran into the end zone, you're just like, man, you know what I mean? Like it almost makes you start thinking like, okay, like this is just the beginning stages of this guy, but he might have the it factor a little bit. You know what I mean? Because he's not known as a runner. You know, if you look at his build as a quarterback, he's not super in shape. He's not, crazy athletic.
He has good, like, when you look for just an overall quarterback, like, his stature is nice.
Right. But you don't view him as a runner, you know? So when he pulls that ball out and he runs in the end zone, I feel like that resonates with the team. Like, they look at that and they're just like, okay, I'm going to follow this dude. You know what I mean? Because most quarterbacks don't want to be put in harm's way. You know, and this guy's trying to win a game, and it was an exciting game. I mean, the Giants ended up winning by 1 point. I mean, they got lucky that Tampa Bay missed the field goal at the end, but I mean, you want your leader to do that. And then, I mean, the second thing that impressed me about him was kind of along the same lines. Is I read a quote that when he went into the huddle, excuse my language, he went in there and was like, "We're gonna score this fucking touchdown," and from what I read is that like all the players in the huddle, they were kind of shocked and they looked at him like, damn, like what this fool just say? You know what I mean? And because they wasn't getting that from Eli.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to hear that from a quarterback, you know, this is his first game on the road in a bind, you know, it wasn't an easy game by any means. To come in a huddle and just take command like that, like that's what impresses me about the kid. Like that's impressive. And so David Gettleman, I mean, he did reach. He reached when he went and drafted him, But I mean, he's kind of making everybody look like fools with this first game. So if he continues to play like this, then I mean, we all got to back off him, and we're all idiots.
Yeah, but I mean, how many quarterbacks have come out their first game? Even the better ones, or even some of the middle lane dudes that were just like, "Oh, this dude's amazing." I mean, you can look at Dak Prescott's first season. Him and Zeke, they lit that thing up. But then you start getting tape on them. Right?
True, that's
so,
true.
And that's a lot of the defensive looks that were in this game were specifically because of the way that Eli's structure is set up. Right?
True.
And then they kind of shifted because Saquon got injured and was out the game. Right. So their run game wasn't going to go ahead and beat Tampa Bay. It was going to be their passing game.
Right.
And so at that point, they're switching more. I want to say they were in cover 2 a lot more. Right. So it's still out. I know you mentioned preseason. Preseason to me, it's only a little glimpse, and it's maybe 2 words of a sentence to you. Because at the end of the day, how many teams really come out and show you what they're going to run?
Right, it's very vanilla.
The very, very vanilla what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Once you get to the 3rd or 4th game, you're over here playing dudes that are probably not even going to be on the roster when the season starts.
True.
You're facing 3rd and 4th stringers. So even in the preseason when they had a really big hype around him, I was still kind of like, okay, I know he's going to be the man. I had a feeling it was going to be maybe in another 2 games going into week 5, maybe 6 at the latest, that they were just going to go ahead and say, all right, Eli is maybe 1-4 or 0-4 or 0-5. Let's get this kid in here. But I'm surprised they did it this early. But at this point, they didn't really have anything to lose.
No, they didn't. And I didn't envision him playing till later in the season as well. Like, I remember talking to one of my friends, and I said I didn't think he would play until like the 8th game in. And I mean, I was shocked to see him in. But I mean, if I look at it from this perspective, if Eli plays on Sunday, do you think they win the game?
If you're talking about at Tampa Bay?
Yeah. Do you think?
No.
Yeah.
Eli's not taking them back from an 18-point deficit. Right. But it goes back to the defense wasn't ready for that look and see what this kid was going to go ahead and throw at him.
And I mean, I'm a huge Eli fan. You know this. Like, I'm a big Eli supporter and what he's done. I agree with you. I think if Eli goes into that game, they don't win the game. I think Tampa Bay's sitting at 2-1. But I mean, like I said, those 2 things that he came out and he showed the team, like, that resonates with me and shows me that okay, they have the beginning pieces of maybe something that they may have something
maybe special,
right? But I had a feeling that he was going to be good because just from all the negative energy from when the Giants drafted him, everybody was just like, "Oh, that was a terrible pick." Like he's not going to be nothing. Why would you reach? Why would you do that? This guy don't know what he's doing. It was like everything was stacked up against Daniel Jones, and it's like I just had that feeling like this fool's just going to come out and ball just because of all that madness.
I think with Daniels that he was never really on anyone's first round radar.
No.
At all.
No.
I mean, you still had Haskins.
Right.
Like I think the projection for Jones was somewhere in the middle of the draft.
Right.
Where I think a lot of the heat that the Giants took is like, why did we trade up, get this pick, the 6th pick, and if you really look at it, I mean, even if the kid pans out, it could have been another Dak Prescott situation where I think Dak went in the 6th round.
Something like, yeah, Dak went late.
Jones would have still been in there. Even if you would have went ahead and took Jones in the 3rd or the 4th or even the 5th round, 3 before what he was even projected to go into.
Right.
Like, taking him as a first round, it was a reach, and I understand why everybody. Even if this kid, it comes out to be an amazing quarterback, I still feel like taking him in the 6th round was still a reach with all the other talent that they had on the board.
True. I mean, to me, going in, I mean, like I said, I watched a ton of college. Going into this draft, I didn't think it was a strong quarterback draft to begin with. To take him over Haskins, that was the reach, because everybody felt like Haskins was the clear number 2, Murray was number 1, and then Herbert, he decided to stay in college, which he would have been the clear number 1 over Murray. he was slated, like you said, was to go like in the third to sixth round. Well, I mean, I remember when I was watching college, I'd never even heard of the guy. I mean, the guy was at Duke, and if you look at his numbers wasn't even that impressive. And Duke wasn't a team that was winning games week in and week out. So when you translate that to the NFL, he was a third to sixth round. And then when they took him over Haskins, that went to Ohio State, threw 50 touchdowns in his last year at Ohio State, it's crazy. You know what I mean? So, but as everything is, hindsight is 2020. And so far from what we've seen, Gettleman seen something in this kid, and he looks to be right, and we were all wrong. But it's still early. A lot of time to play out. I mean, he could come out next week and just totally shit the bed. But I mean, his performance and what I heard and what I read against Tampa Bay, I mean, this is probably some stuff that people will talk about for a long time if he is successful. Because, I mean, you being a quarterback in New York City, especially with the Giants,
pressure.
It's tons of pressure. But if you succeed, like, dude, your name is going to be in the rafters for years,
Yeah.
So, I mean, he got to stay on this pace. I mean, it was Tampa Bay, like you said. It should get stiffer from here on out because, I mean, the NFC East is pretty tough. I mean, you got Philly. Philly's no slouch. Washington, they're
I think
getting
it's the beginning of the end for Gruden after this performance against the Bears.
Yeah. I agree
it's
with
just
that.
he's not the one.
I don't know. Depends. Maybe Haskins can save him. I mean, I don't know when they pull that trigger, but
Well, he was pretty firm.
on Keenum,
Yeah, on Keenum, he was defending him a lot in the post game because even in the post game he was saying, well, this is a new guy. Keenum, this is the first time he's really in a system like that. These are all new guys. You got to give him time. You can't really rush anything. But then you're just sitting here like, well, okay, you just drafted and spent a first rounder.
exactly.
See what this kid can do because
Exactly.
obviously Keenum's not taking you anywhere that you need to go.
No, he's not. And I don't get why you delayed the process. I mean, if you watch them, I believe they played Monday night, right?
Yeah.
Like Keenum was, average at best. You know what I mean? Like,
I wouldn't even say that.
like you have McLaurin, who's a rookie receiver, went to Ohio State. His quarterback's on the bench. Dwayne Haskins was his
Yeah, they got
quarterback.
that connection. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's like,
What are
play
you
the
doing?
kid.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand it. And I know you don't really like to talk about the preseason, but Dwayne Haskins looked the part in preseason. Like he didn't come out and look awful like he looked like a quarterback in preseason. So, I mean, like you said, Gruden, he's in hot water. He's definitely in the hot seat. I don't envision seeing him making it through the season, to be honest. To me, he's probably going to be on the Raiders coaching staff next year, to be honest. So, I mean, Washington, I can't remember him doing anything of notice in his tenure in Washington. I don't even know if they made the playoffs or not.
I don't think so.
So, for him, I feel like his future is tied with Haskins. You drafted the kid, play him. I mean, he might come out and he might be Wentz, he might be Dak. Play him. Let's see what he got. I mean, he got to put all his chips in.
He was a first round pick for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
He really was supposed to be the number 2.
Yeah.
Right, and then New York went ahead and pulled Jones, but that no one seen coming.
Nah.
But Haskins was clearly the second quarterback to go, or was prompted to be the second quarterback to go.
Right.
You're not in a playoff push. You're not even in contention.
No,
at this point.
Not at all.
You're not. You don't have a winning record.
Or the talent on the roster.
Yeah. So start with your young core. You have the Haskins and Scary Terry connection. Who else did they just have? Who else did they have? Chris Thompson's nice. He's all right. He's been kind of mediocre the last couple years.
Yeah, can't stay healthy.
Yeah, that's his problem is he can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Because I had him 2 years ago on fantasy.
Yeah.
And when he would play,
He was killing.
He was a better Tyreek Cohen.
Yeah.
Back 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right, because they were screen passing to him, and he was a receiving back.
Yeah.
But if he stays healthy, they have an okay running back. right? But they also have a better receiving core that they can go ahead and build around.
Right.
They can build around Haskins.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what they really do, what Washington will do. I really wonder who they would take to fill that coaching job, though.
That's interesting. I don't know which way they would go with that one. I mean, they could go college ranks, and try to go get
Harbaugh. Go get your boy from Michigan.
At this point, they can have him. You know what I mean? Like, to be honest, if they want him, good riddance. Or they could go to Oklahoma and get I can't think of his name right now. I think it's Riley, something Riley. But or they could go like NFL and try to get like a assistant somewhere. Go to that Patriots coaching tree and grab somebody from there.
Oh, and Josh Daniels isn't leaving. If they go after Josh Daniels not leaving for Washington.
No.
He was set up to go to Indy and
Yeah.
then went there to go sign the papers and was like, I'm just playing. I was just seeing if y'all wanted to have me or not.
He said I miss Belichick too much.
Yeah, he's waiting for Belichick to go ahead and
He's
serve
coaching
his time.
waiting,
Yeah, he's just gonna be ready because he wants to take over that team.
Yep, I see why. I mean, it's on autopilot pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know Washington. I mean, we'll see how Gruden finishes the year out. But I mean, if they get rid of Gruden, they're going to have I don't know where they go because I mean, Washington they're just not relevant no more. I mean, I like I said, I can't remember the last time they were in the playoffs. Last time I remember them in the playoffs was RG3. How long ago was that?
Yeah, and that was like beginning RG3.
Yeah, and that's
that was
when-
healthy RG3.
Yeah, before the whole knee issues, and that's when they had hopes of being something, and then RG3 got hurt, never came back, was the same player, and it's just, I just don't know. I mean, to me, play Haskins, he might be the future. You could build from there. I mean, hopefully you get Geis back and he's healthy. I mean, he can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, Adrian Peterson, he's done. I mean, you're going to have to do something with that.
Oh, did you see him on Monday?
Yeah, he was running
He was,
hard.
well, not when he was on the bench.
Oh, he was upset.
He
Yeah.
was. Yeah, you could
Yeah.
see. He didn't have to say nothing. There was one point where I think he had his helmet off and he put it on like he thought he was going to go back into the game.
Yeah.
Because this dude's only like 3 touchdowns away from beating the record.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He's or being there on the all-time list. He's like 3 away.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's close.
Well, I would have been upset too. I mean, it was a goal line carry as well, and they have Chris Thompson out there, who weighs like a buck 75,
I think it's like a $1.80.
65, yeah, something like that. Like, come on, I mean, put your bell cow out there. The punching in on the goal line, he has a better probability of scoring than Chris Thompson.
Yeah.
So, I'd have been upset about that too, but I don't know. They have nice young pieces with McLaurin. Whatever you can get out of Chris Thompson. I mean, Haskins.
Guys, like you were saying.
Guys, yeah. So
They have a lot to build around.
yeah, they do. But I mean, I don't even know what happened to Reuben Foster. Remember when they picked up Reuben Foster from the Niners?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know what happened with that whole situation.
He
So
says he started turning irrelevant. I hate to say it.
for real, he was super talented too. But
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see where they go from here. But they need to play the youngster.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
The Buffalo Bills are now 3-0 after beating Cincinnati on Sunday, making them one of the only 3 teams in the AFC that remains undefeated. This is the first time in 8 years the team has started the season at 3-0, but the first time in team history they have gone 2-0 on the road. With the Bills starting out strong, do you see them making the playoffs, Warren?
So look, absolutely not. Do I think Buffalo will make the playoffs? Like, okay, they're 3-0. They're fresh off beating Cincinnati. When is the last time Buffalo's made the playoffs? I can't even tell you the last quarterback who was Buffalo's quarterback when they were in
I
the
think
playoffs.
it was like 3 years ago.
Do you remember who the quarterback was?
I can't off the top of my head, no.
I can't even remember. But looking at the AFC, it's just too stacked, man. Like where do you see them fitting in? Who's not going to make the playoffs for Buffalo to make the playoffs? Like, I know they have this hot start, but I look at their roster, and to me, their roster is not even built for the playoffs. Like, offensively, what is their identity? You know, like, who are you going to lean on in those tough games? Like, for them to make the playoffs, they're going to have to win some tough games, though. They're going to have to beat – they got the Patriots twice. They're at least going to have to get one of those games.
Well, they play them Sunday.
Which I don't believe is a winnable game for Buffalo.
No, I think the Pats are maybe going to go 14-2. 13-3.
They could go 16-0.
I don't see them going 16-0.
But it's not out of the realm, though. Like,
no, it's not out of the realm. But
I mean, if they go 16-0, you wouldn't be surprised. You'd be like, it's the Patriots.
16-0 though with this team.
They've done it before.
No, yeah, but that was with Moss.
Yeah, but I mean, they have no competition literally in the East. It's just they run the East every year.
Yeah, that's every year, but I don't see them going 16-0. Like I said, 14-2.
I mean, anything 13-3 and higher.
Oh, that's an amazing year.
Yeah, but I could see them going 16. I wouldn't be surprised if we're sitting here playoff time and the Patriots are undefeated. I wouldn't be surprised.
Can we put something on that?
I mean, I'm not gonna bet it. I'm gonna need odds. You have to give me some type of odds.
What kind of odds you want?
I need like 3-1 odds, 4-1 odds.
I'll give you 2.5.
I don't know about that.
We'll do $25. We'll do $20.
What, 2.5 odds?
Yeah. You risk 20, I risk 50.
For them to go undefeated.
Yeah.
I might take that.
Let's just do it right now. Let's get on record.
I might take that. I need some type of contingencies though.
No, I'm giving you 2.5.
I need a contingency.
I'll give you a Brady contingency.
So if Brady gets hurt, bets off.
If Brady has a season injury, 16-0, you're right. Depends on who they have to play next. If they play the Dolphins again and Brady's only out for a week.
They got the Dolphins one more time.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But they're playing the Dolphins at home. They already beat the Dolphins in Miami.
But they might not play Miami till week 16. You know how it is week 16. Oh, we're not going to play Brady. So we're going to put it in Stidham. And they go out, they roll out, and they lose.
Okay, but if they don't play him, then that wouldn't cover your contingency.
Then nah,
You think Belichick is really not going to want to go 16-0 to the fact of where he doesn't play Brady?
I don't think that matters to Bill Belichick. I think what matters to Bill Belichick is winning the Super Bowl. So I think if they have the whole AFC wrapped up, home field advantage by week 16, which I feel like they won't because of what the Kansas City Chiefs look like. But if they do, hypothetically, play Stidham. They'll play Stidham. I don't think he'll risk hurting Brady because why roll Brady out there? Brady gets hurt, then you're going with Stidham into the playoffs. Your chances go from most likely winning the Super Bowl to less likely.
Okay, so then what would we have to do? What would we have to do in order to go ahead and solidify this 2.5 to 1? What's the contingency other than the injury?
My contingency is I would need Brady to play all 16 games.
Define play. More than a quarter?
3/4 of football. He might sit in the fourth because it's a blowout. That's fine. But
what if it's a blowout halfway?
And he sits? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care. I mean,
well, because unless it's a blowout, they're not going to sit Brady.
At least 3/4. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, at least 3.
But if it's a blowout at the half,
and they sit Brady, that's.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna.
So Belichick, because this is the thing, and this is what they did last week, is that they went ahead and they went to sit Brady.
Yeah.
And they put Stidham in, and then he threw the pick,
and then they put Brady.
And they put Brady right back in.
Yeah. See, that's
so if Belichick is losing the lead, he's not. He's gonna go and just put Brady back in there.
I mean,
because the Kansas City. Man.
I know, but that goes back to the statement. I mean, you think Buffalo's gonna make the playoffs?
I think Buffalo has a good chance. I think they can sneak in there.
So what's your 6? Give me your playoff 6 out of the AFC. So we know Buffalo's one of them. So we know at least 3 of them: New England, Chiefs, and Buffalo. So who's the other 3?
Baltimore.
Baltimore's 4.
Who else do we got?
So you got 2 teams going out the AFC East.
Jags aren't going to make it. Jets aren't going to make it. Cincinnati's not going to make it. Maybe Indy.
Indy?
Maybe Indy.
Okay.
I can see Indy because they're
Houston?
in Houston.
Okay. So teams that you have left out. So Cleveland's not going to make it?
I don't think they will. Not the way that they've been playing.
LA's not going to make it? Chargers?
That's all dependent upon Phillip Rivers.
Because last year, round towards playoff time, they were looking like the best team in the league.
And Melvin Gordon is
rumors he's on his way back.
Yeah, he's on his way back.
But you got the Buffalo Bills,
we'll
though.
See. That's all right, though.
So,
they can. So, okay, would you give me wild card?
Let's do this.
Would you give me wild card?
I'll give you action. I'll give you action on the 16-0. You give me action on Buffalo making the playoffs.
I need better odds.
So what you looking for?
Oh, man. Well, wild card?
Playoffs is playoffs. I don't care if they make wild card or whatever. Playoffs is playoffs. But I don't think there's any chance they're making the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs at all. Who's their quarterback? What's his name?
Josh Allen.
You believe in Josh Allen? And
he's been all right.
I got to see the rest of their schedule.
Yeah, I would too. But I don't. For what Josh Allen has right now, with Singletary out, and you have to see how long Singletary's going to be out. Singletary's not going to be the huge difference maker, but you're not going to be able to bell cow Frank Gore. Not for another 12 games.
No, you
not
can't.
Not even for another 8 games. You're not going to be able to bell cow Frank Gore.
You can't.
That man amazes me though.
He does.
That man is amazing for as long as how old he is and how long he's played in this league, and just the beatings that this dude took. I mean, they called him Frank the Tank, and that was for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, that dude would just, even when he was playing in
Frisco?
Indy.
In Indy?
No, well, after he left Frisco and went to Indy,
Mm-hmm.
he was like a, I almost want to compare him to Thomas Rawls, where he wouldn't shy away from getting hit.
Right.
Right? Like, he was just a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
Like, I like Frank Gore. Like, I have major respect, but at this dude's, at this part of his career, you're not going to bell cow him for more than, I don't even think you could bell cow him for 5 games.
No, it is impressive to see how long he's last, especially at a position that gets beat up so much.
At his position, yeah.
And I mean, you look at Gurley, and Gurley's like, he's almost like a shell of himself 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, but the man has arthritis. He has arthritic knees. That's something that, I mean, you give anybody arthritic knees, they're not gonna look like themselves at all. I don't care if it's Pat Mahomes. I don't care if it is Tyreek Hill. I don't care who it is, because these are your joints. Your knees and your legs are what moved you around.
He might as well just ride off into the sun then. His knees are that bad, he might as well just ride off into the sun.
And I know we're kind of getting off point on the topic, but something that they haven't been doing in LA is he hasn't been receiving the ball. There's been no screenplays ran. Well, and that was his bread and butter 2 years ago.
It was. He did catch a lot of balls, but I mean, you look at his snap count, like the dude, I kid you not, man, like out of probably like 10 offensive series, you'll probably see him out there. Like, he doesn't, to me, he's not even splitting them. It's like he'd be out there like,
no, I think
3 to 4.
I think he's 66% right now snap count.
But
the other dude's not doing anything. Malcolm, he's not doing anything at all.
But like even when Gurley's in, I believe because I think he like last week only had like maybe like 16 carries, but they said they threw the ball like 88% of the time. Like,
yeah,
they were just
got
airing it out.
They're one of the few teams that have gone up.
Yeah.
in passing plays.
And I believe that's because of your point. If your point of him having arthritic knees, they're going to ramp it up to throw. Or I mean, I don't know what the Rams are doing, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if they're saving him for the end of the season. Like, okay, we're gonna light your load now. Then towards the end of the season, we gonna need you.
Well, they've come out and said he's not on any type of load management either.
I don't believe
Which
that.
I mean, looking at it,
that.
no, I don't either.
Yeah, he's not the same Gurley 2 years ago. You know, like I mean, I'm in the belief of you give Gurley at least 20 carries, he's gonna kill.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he's getting at least
2 touchdowns, over 100 yards.
Over 100 yards.
He's going to do damage. You know what I mean? And that's why he was the number 1 pick in fantasy for like a 2-3 year window. You know? But now it's just like they're going to give him anywhere between 10 to 15 carries. He's not really catching no balls, you know, and it's just I understand it's hurt. It's just weird though, man, cuz I mean the guy went from being like an MVP candidate to now it's just like his role is so diminished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You and I had the conversation too the other day about even fantasy. You know, like this dude last year was number 1 or number 2.
Yeah.
Depending if you went with Kamara or you went with Todd Gurley.
Yep.
You know, and last year I went with Todd Gurley first.
Yep.
And I think you went with Kamara second.
Yep.
And then later on in the year we worked some trades where you got Gurley, I got Kamara.
Right.
But
and I dealt Gurley.
yeah. But it's so crazy just to see the regression.
Yeah.
But then again, it goes back to him and the Rams not running those screen plays,
No, they don't.
reception plays for him.
You're right.
And that's what's really being detrimental just to his outlook.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we were talking the other night, and you had just said, you know, this dude in fantasy, like he's almost
droppable.
yeah.
I swear.
He's like tradable for like a James Conner or like even a Chris Carson at this point.
I would agree. I agree. Like I have him. I don't have him in our league, but I have him in another league, and I seriously contemplating dropping him for Miles Sanders. And I was
that's a real big trade that a lot of people are looking for. A lot of Gurley owners are looking for trades with Miles Sanders, trying to hope for the Miles Sanders upside.
Yep.
You know, but it's like I had told you, and you know, even before we drafted, and we were talking about Gurley, and I told you straight up, I'm staying away from him.
You did say that.
I said there's a few people that I'm staying away from. 100%.
Right.
I don't care if it's the 3rd round and they're available. I was staying away from AB. And I was staying away from Gurley. Those were my top 2 early round people that I said I'm staying away from.
Yeah,
you know,
were spot on with that one because, I mean, I was kind of like, nah, they gonna use him. You know what I mean, like they did before. And I mean, like I said, man, it's night and day, man. It's like it's almost alarming. It's just like because you know how good the Rams can be. You know, like everything be hitting on all cylinders, but it's like their running game now is just not even there. It's just non-existent, and it's just because the lack of usage of Gurley. And like I said, I don't know what they're doing. Like, I mean, maybe it's their game plan to use them, you know, the last 8 games of the season, which might be a brilliant game plan, you know, because in the Super Bowl last year, it looked like he ran out of gas. You know,
well, he didn't even play part of the Super Bowl.
Exactly, and everybody was
C.J. Anderson they were leaning on.
Yeah, and everybody was asking questions like, "What's up with Gurley? Why isn't Gurley playing?" And rightfully so, because I mean, last year he had a great year.
For the first, I think it was like the first 10 to 12 games. He had really good. And then toward the end of the season, you start to see him scale back. And in the playoffs, right, you start to see them scaling back a lot. And a lot of people were like, what's going on? What's wrong with him?
Right.
And everyone, I think there was one week where they had a rumor where he may have done something to his knee or he had strained his knee or something. And then the next week they're like, no, everything's fine. He just needed to rest. I don't know if they said it was a strain or something, but they downplayed it.
Yeah.
And was like, no, there's nothing wrong with his knee. And then come to find out in the off season, this dude has arthritic knees.
Yeah, because during the season they were real weird about it.
Yeah,
like they wouldn't come out and be like, "What's wrong with him? How long he's gonna be out? What's the problem?" And you're like, for fantasy owners, you're like, "Come on now, like." What's going on with the dude? Like, we need to know what's up. You know what I mean? Like, and like the Rams just seemed like they were just being so nonchalant about it. They were just like, "Oh, like." Gurley's fine. He's, you know, he practiced today, this, and that. But you could clearly, you sit here and watch the games, you can see something's wrong with the guy.
Yeah.
You know?
He was just sitting on the sidelines for no reason.
Yeah, or they had him on
Helmet
a bike or something. It's just like, dude, there's something clearly wrong, but maybe McVay is taking the approach to, all right, we're going to save you before the end of the year.
That would make sense
It would.
just based on the fact that a lot of teams now, especially D coordinators, are going to look at the Rams and say, okay, I mean, they've been lighting it up. Goff has been lighting it up for
He
the
has,
most part.
and I'm impressed.
So, but maybe that's what their game plan is going to start going to more. Because now, like I said, last year, the year before, bread and butter was their passing and their screen passes and everything else that they
Play
were doing to
action.
get to get Gurley in there as a receiving back.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not. I don't think they've ran 0 screen plays. I can't remember 100% if it's 0. I was looking at the stuff the other night, and I want to say it was about 0, or it was a very abysmal number compared to what they've done in the past.
Yeah. I don't know. It's something it's strange, man. And I get it. NFL season is long, and maybe McVay's taking a new approach at it. Is okay. I'm gonna manage these 16 games. And this is how we're gonna manage it, because when we got to the Super Bowl, we kind of had a gas.
Yeah, he was nowhere to be found.
Right. And so maybe he's just like, and McVay is, I feel like he's a next level coach. Like, he's real innovative. And I think, honestly, he took that 16 game approach. And I think he's just like, look, these games right here, I know we can win these games. I can out scheme this coach by throwing it and playing this type of ball. Once I get into this part of the schedule, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, So I could definitely see McVay taking that type of approach to this season after, being in the Super Bowl, losing to Bill Belichick, which is the GOAT, and he probably got schooled a little bit. You know what I'm saying? And so now he's taking a whole different approach to this season. From this point on, like I said, it's just going to be interesting to see how they use Gurley from a fan standpoint and from a fantasy standpoint, because, the guy's a killer, I'm a Niner fan. I don't want to see him kill that much, because we got this guy twice on the schedule, but from a fantasy standpoint, it's killing me. Like, I'm telling you, I was like, I'm going to sleep on it, but I'm going to end up dropping this fool. And I know if I drop him, people are going to be like, Gurley, they're going to try to get him, and I might be.
I'd trade him. I'd go for Miles Sanders for sure.
And that's what I'm thinking, So
it's hard just based off his name alone, just to go ahead and say,
man.
I'm not going to take
really
Todd Gurley. It's hard.
It really is. Like, when you see that name Gurley, you're just like, damn, drop him though. Because
there's so much potential, upward potential, and high ceiling for him. But I'm telling you, man, those arthritic knees. But we'll see. We'll see. I really think that the Bills can because people are still sleeping on them. People are still sleeping on the Bills.
I'm snoozing. I'm snoring. I'm doing everything.
On a 3-0 team.
Yeah. They're 3-0. They're 3-0. But who's their 3 wins against? I know they beat Cincinnati last week. The week before,
I think they beat the Jets. Did they play the Jets yet?
I'm not sure. Maybe. Did they play Detroit too? I don't know. I don't know who their 3 wins are. I just know they beat Cincinnati. And Cincinnati is, they're okay. I wouldn't say they're
not a Miami.
No, they're not Miami. They're missing AJ Green.
Do you think that who's better, Washington or Cincy?
Or Cincinnati? I would say Cincinnati would be Washington, in my opinion. But I don't know, man. I'm sleeping on. I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid yet on Buffalo.
I'm not saying that they're gonna make it out the first round, but I think they can surprise people. If Singletary can come back and stay healthy, and Allen can stay consistent, and if not elevate his game, they can be a sleeper team.
Do you think they're better than Jacksonville, Buffalo?
Without Jalen Ramsey?
With Jalen Ramsey and with Minshew at quarterback.
It's hard to say because right now Ramsey doesn't want to be there.
Right, but the team, they're kind of changing their whole narrative. They want to give him money now.
Well, yeah, but I think Ramsey's issue right now is the fact that he has problems with Coughlin.
Yeah, he ain't going nowhere though. I always tell you, man. Some teams ain't about that life, and the way I know that Jacksonville's not about that life is what they put the asking price at. 2 first rounds. Who's gonna give up 2 first rounds for? I mean,
He's worth it.
No, he's not.
It, depending on the team.
2 first rounds.
Kansas City.
He's not.
You don't think Kansas City will go?
No. He's listen. With Kansas City, he would make their defense better.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, but their defense needs so much more than just a corner. You know what I'm saying? To give up 2 first rounders where they could get like a middle linebacker that would help them out, and like a D tackle or a DN that could help them out, or maybe even a better safety.
But if you're in a win now, you're not gonna go ahead and get anybody in the draft that's gonna be on the same level as Jalen Ramsey.
I mean, you think they're Jalen Ramsey away from beating the Patriots?
I think so. I think they could beat the Pats if they had. I think when they play them in December, I think Kansas City can pull it off in December.
I don't know. It depends where the game's played.
It's in Gillette.
They play in the regular season?
December.
Oh, okay. In the playoffs, I mean, the Patriots went into Kansas City and won last year. You know what I mean? They went on the road. Brady went on the road.
Yeah, but that's just because Brady had the ball last. If D Ford didn't make that mistake,
true, that is true.
Who would have won?
The game was sold up. Kansas City would have won the game, but you got to line up on side.
Well, yeah, that's true. But the only reason why they won is because they had the ball last, and D Ford made that mistake.
Without question. I mean,
so it wasn't like they just went in there and just steamrolled.
I mean,
in Arrowhead.
I mean, even after D Ford was offside, you still got to execute. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but this is still Tom.
There was like what 2 or 3 third downs, like third and long, where they had to make a play. You know what I mean? And Brady made the play. Like, if you're a Super Bowl team, you got to get them off the field. Good teams get them off the field. You know? Especially at home.
But at that point, if D Ford wouldn't have done that, game would have been sold up.
Yep.
And Kansas City would have been the ones probably to go ahead and beat the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, they would have.
Pat Mahomes would have had the MVP season and his Super Bowl ring.
Yep.
And he would have been right there on pace with Brady. But I don't think Brady wasn't MVP by his second year.
Super Bowl MVP?
Mm-hmm. Or even just regular season MVP in his second year.
No, I don't think so.
Mahomes would have had that over Brady.
I mean,
Brady won in his second year, Mahomes would have won in his second year, and Mahomes would have had MVP in his second year, and probably in Super Bowl MVP.
I mean, the way you forecast Mahomes' career, I mean, he could possibly catch Brady and even surpass him. So, I mean, he's just young enough to do it. But I mean, his thing is going to be Andy Reid. Andy Reid can't get over the hump. He's been to the Super Bowl and can't get over the hump. He was right there in the AFC Championship game last year and couldn't get over the hump. So, I mean, that's what's going to plague them, is to see if Andy Reid can finally get over the hump and win something. But I don't think Jalen Ramsey is the answer for them. I think how their team's constructed now, they're able to do it without Jalen Ramsey. But I
think with Jalen Ramsey, that gives him overall favorite to win it all.
It does, but 2 first rounds.
If you're in a win now situation and you can afford it and you have the cap space.
If I'm Jacksonville, I'm not even taking 2 first rounds from Kansas City because they're going to be 2 30th picks.
That's part of my point.
I'm not even taking it from them. I'm not even.
You're not, for those 2 first rounders that you would give up for Jalen Ramsey, you're not going to get that potential with both of those players combined.
It depends what pick you get. Because
Kansas City's going to get a high pick.
If I'm getting 2 of Miami first round picks, all day. Because they're probably going to be picking first. I'll take it. That means I can get Tua.
Oh, you're talking about if you're Jacksonville.
If I'm Jacksonville, yeah.
You just signed Nick Foles.
Foles is in. Oh yeah. Well, I mean,
and you have Minshew. Why would you go after Tua?
Foles or Tua.
But you also have Minshew.
Yeah, but
you're gonna go ahead and stack. This is the same problem that they fell into a couple years ago with re-signing Bortles.
Arizona Cardinals, Josh Rosen or Murray. They took Rosen the year before, and then
but look at what Rosen has done. Rosen's not even doing anything. Well, I mean, it's Miami, but
exactly,
he's not even doing anything promising. He's not even starting in Miami.
Well, now he is. I think they named him the starter now.
Fitzpatrick started last week.
But I mean, you can't let a talent like that walk away. I mean, Tua's special, man. He's a special guy.
I agree with you. I'm just saying you have a lot of dead money at that point for Nick Foles. You're gonna sit there with that dead money?
I'll eat it. I'll eat it because this is a league of quarterbacks. You know what I mean? Foles ain't got Tua talent, and neither does Minshew.
No, not at all.
So if you get Tua, you're essentially setting up your team for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? Now you just gotta get pieces around him. You already got a running back in Fournette. You just got to get some receivers.
Fournette has to stay healthy.
Yep, he does. He does got to stay healthy, but
your number one, your WR1 is D.D. Westbrook.
Yeah, D.D. Westbrook, and who else they have over there? They have they don't have Allen Robinson no more, right? He's in Chicago. Damn, who else do they have over there?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
You're gonna have Tua stuck in a. I mean, it's not like Jacksonville cares, but you're gonna have Tua stuck in limbo on a losing season.
Well, if you're Jacksonville, you'll have 2 of those first rounds. Just use your second pick on Jerry Jeudy. He's the number 1 receiver coming out the draft, and he already has the chemistry with Tua because they play together now in college. So it's like, you know what I mean? You could start to build something.
But I don't see Miami's not giving.
No,
Miami is tanking to get to
exactly, yeah.
So,
I agree.
But we're talking about Kansas City and we're talking about Jacksonville.
Right.
Like if I'm Kansas City, I'll give up my late round 2 first round picks for Jalen Ramsey.
It makes sense to them, yes. If you're getting 2 30 picks, yeah, the 30th overall pick, it makes sense. But that doesn't make sense for Jacksonville.
At this point, with him not being happy?
Well, like what you were saying, I'm getting a 30th pick in the 2019 draft and a 30th pick in the 2020 draft. Like, I'm probably with these 2 players are probably not going to equal what Jalen Ramsey is. So it's like, why would we do that?
You have to also take into consideration Jalen Ramsey's not happy by any means,
right? But he's not happy. Then you get rid of the coach. I mean,
then now you set the precedent on Jalen. If you're not happy, we're going to go ahead with the next coach. We're just going to cut every coach that you don't like.
I wouldn't say that. That's
the precedent you're
setting. But I mean, I think this is the second head coach Jalen Ramsey has had, and this is the first time he's had issues. Tom Coughlin, to me, obviously, I feel like he runs the shit, and I think he'll probably, if they're coming out and they're ready to re-sign Jalen and not trade him, then I feel like the coach is more closer to being out the door than Jalen Ramsey is.
Well, Khan already came out and said that he wants to re-sign him.
Yeah.
He said no, we want to stick with Jalen. We want to give him his money. But to Jalen, it's almost like, well, he called in sick.
he is fooling around a lot.
Well, no, I think to his defense, he was seen Monday at the facility, and he was walking out in a hoodie. But I think he was being checked out by a team doctor Monday too, if I remember correctly. But I know for sure Monday he was seen at the facility in a hoodie. But I guess he had called them Monday morning and had told them, like, you know what, I don't feel good. I got the flu.
The heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. I got the.
They gonna work that out, man.
I got the bull flu.
He got the bird flu.
Yeah.
They gonna work that out though. He ain't gonna get dealt.
I don't.
They don't work it out. I promise you. Because if he was gonna get dealt with, usually when situations happen like this, it move quick.
Well, they're trying to. Well, they were trying to, because the rumor was the next day after Thursday they were going to start working on a trade.
Yeah, but like I said, nobody's going to give up 2 firsts. Nobody in their right mind will.
Well, no one that has a first that the Jags would want.
Right? Yeah.
But that's always you always want in negotiations. You always want to start high.
Yeah, but I mean, they should have already came down by now.
Who says they haven't?
He's came out 2 weeks ago and said deal me, and he still hasn't been dealt.
No, it wasn't 2 weeks ago.
They had a game this last week.
We're going into the second week. He said it. He said it the Sunday before they played.
Yeah, so this Sunday.
The Monday. Yeah, this last Monday was the first week.
Right.
Was a complete week. So we're going into the second week.
Right.
To where he said deal me, but then they went ahead and there were rumors that they were working on a deal on Friday. There was no deal on Friday.
There's no.
And
deal.
now he's calling in sick.
He'll get his money before he gets dealt. They're not going to deal him. They're not. Jacksonville's not about that life. They know what they have. They have the best corner in the league. The asking price is ridiculous unless they come down from it. So I just don't see it happening. I mean, the only team I feel like that could make that deal. I mean, I feel like the Niners can make the deal because they have the assets. I mean, they could trade a first round player that they took in the first round and a first round pick. They could trade Solomon Thomas. They took him one. Ark Armstead. They took him one. And pair it with a first-round pick. But if they want two solid first picks, like no player and a pick, just two picks, ain't nobody doing that, bro.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I hope the man gets his money and goes.
That's a
and goes where he goes where he wants to be.
That's a guarantee. He's gonna get paid, but I think they'll work it out.
Yeah. But when it comes to the Bills playing them. It all just depends on the whole Jalen Ramsey situation, but I don't see the Jags making the playoffs.
No, but I see them. I think they're a better team than Buffalo.
I don't know. John Brown's been doing good. Singletary's been doing good. Allen has been doing good. Their defense isn't a slouch. You know, I could see it because they still have to play. They play the Dolphins again. No, wait, did they already play the Dolphins?
I'm not sure, possibly.
No, they haven't played the Dolphins. So they still have 2 games playing the Dolphins. They have to play the Jets again. I mean, that's possibly 3 wins right there. They're 6-0 at that point. They're 2 games shy of being at 500. You know, they.
Come talk to me week 8. We'll revisit it.
That's fine.
Talk to me week 8,
That's
and then
fine.
we'll bring it back up on the show. We'll talk about it, and then we'll see what's up. Because honestly, I think week 8 we can talk about it either way. We can talk about them. Okay, they look for real. They're in playoff contention. I was wrong. Or we can talk week 8.
What you gonna say?
Or we can talk week 8.
How do words taste?
They're out of contention. So.
Well, okay, so at week 8 we're gonna have to revisit their schedule and their record.
Yeah. Yep.
Because if they're at week 8, if they're 5-3, but they still have to play the Dolphins twice, and they still have the Jets. I mean that they could be 8-2 at that point. It all just I have to look at their schedule. You don't think that they're going to beat the Dolphins?
I mean, I don't know how they're going to look with Josh Rosen. He might revitalize the situation. So
Rosen wasn't looking too hot.
I mean, if I'm a betting man, of course I'm going to say Buffalo will win the game, but we'll see.
I'm not high on Rosen.
Well, I mean, I've seen some weird things happen in Miami. Some weird things. I think we all have. Last year against the Patriots.
Well, no, that's always happened there. Every year they split one with Brady.
Yep, they do.
That's why they made that. That's why they made that line 18.5. That's why they made that line 18.5 because they know that they didn't really expect him to go in there and blow them out like they were going to, because Brady always has issues playing in Miami.
Yes,
but keep in mind though that it's always later in the season. I think this is the first time in a while that they played Miami in Miami early, so they got the game out of the way.
Yeah.
Usually it's the later part of the season where they play in Miami, and that's where he has his issues is because he's already played most of the year, and now they're going into Miami.
Yeah.
So I think that may be something too, you know. And at that point, they still had your boy AB. So, but at this point, the Dolphins are tanking. You know.
Yeah, without question. We'll see, man. We'll revisit the Buffalo thing. I think it'll be a different landscape by then. But I mean, we'll see.
All right. Oh, since we were talking about the Patriots too, since they play them in December, they play Kansas City. So we're gonna put some action on that.
On who wins the game?
Yeah.
Where are they playing at again?
I want to say they're playing at Gillette.
In Gillette. Who you taking?
I'd take KC.
You're taking Kansas City?
Well, yeah, I'd have to because you're talking about 16-0.
Yeah, we can talk. We can talk about that when it gets closer, though. When it gets closer, I'm not gonna forecast it from now. I don't know who's gonna be out, who's gonna be playing. So
Okay.
once the Patriot Chiefs week comes, then we could definitely.
I think it's December 8th. I think they play.
We can. I always roll with Brady and Belichick. So
Okay.
we could do that.
All right, we'll figure it out.
All right.
On Sunday, the Panthers managed to get their first win of this season without all-pro quarterback Cam Newton. The Panthers beat the Cardinals 38-20 with backup quarterback Kyle Allen, throwing over 250 yards and 4 touchdowns. Panthers coach Ron Rivera has already ruled out Cam this week, again due to his foot injury, and did not quote a timetable on his return. With Cam's current performance, is there anything to be worried about with the Panthers moving on? Anthony, what are your thoughts?
I have a lot of mixed feelings, surprisingly, even to myself, about the whole Cam situation. Like, if I'm Carolina at this point, I'm cutting ties. Now, am I going to do it this season? I'm not going to do it this season. You know, the rumor is with Cam's ankle or sprain or whatever it may be, it's actually it's a lot more than what we're being led on to believe. If it's a certain type of sprain, it's actually requires a surgery, and it's actually a season-ending surgery. So he'll go ahead and they haven't come out and said it's that, but rumors and sources are saying that it's looking like it's that kind of injury. They're just not saying anything yet. So I think that the Cam era in Carolina is coming to an end. I would say definitely more so now, the way that Kyle Allen played this weekend, because this dude was making these receivers look up like they were living and playing up to their potential. Mm-hmm. So I think that Carolina has been kind of almost in the same predicament as the Giants with Eli, because how hard is it for you to really say we're going to cut ties and we're going to cut and do away with Cam Newton? Like, how hard? Just based off of this man's, the man was overall number 1 pick. The man has taken you to the Super Bowl, 15-1 season. He was MVP. He was a Heisman winner, All-Pro. Went to the Pro Bowl a couple times, at least 2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm. It's hard to really be the organization of Carolina and say, all right, we're done with Cam Newton. That's hard. Like, even for me to go ahead, and I'm not even a Carolina fan by any means. Like, I'm a Falcons fan, and he's in the NFC South.
Right.
But for you to really think about it and put yourself in that position as Carolina and even say those words, like, they don't sound right and they don't even feel right. Even me as a Falcons fan saying, all right, yeah, we're going to cut ties with Cam Newton. The dude's name carries a lot of weight, but this injury may just be the way, a scapegoat, if you will.
A backdoor.
A backdoor for them to really go ahead and at this point cut ties.
Yep.
Because Cam's on the last year of his deal. I think right now he's $19 million on the books. But if they cut him in the offseason, if they continue to pay him through the rest of this season, it's almost like a Jerick McKinnon situation in San Francisco. Right? On the books for the rest of the season, because if you cut him, that's a whole lot of dead money you have on your cap. If Carolina goes ahead and they cut Cam in the offseason, they'll go ahead and just have to go ahead and take it's like a 2.1 or somewhere in the low $2 million hit compared to the $19 million. Right? So, at this point, you have a kid that just came in here. Now, again, it's almost the same thing as the Daniel Jones situation. This is eerily similar to the situation that New York's in, right? Except now you have a way out of getting Cam off of your starting line and out of your franchise.
Right.
So I think this is the perfect situation that Carolina's been looking for a while. Not even for the last season. I think for at least the last season and a half, the last 2 seasons, they've been trying to part ways with Cam. They just had no way to do it.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So if they really want to, this is going to be the part, and this is going to be the test to say, here, you have your perfect out. You know, Cam Newton's still Cam Newton. He's not the same MVP candidate and MVP winner that we seen a few years ago. But that's not to say that another team's not going to pick him up.
No.
He can still get another job
Yes.
on a team. But overall in Carolina, I mean, you have a really younger team at this point, you know. So it's really hard to say, and it's really hard to think about that Cam is going to get cut by the Panthers.
I think you make a couple good points. I mean, I agree with you. I think Carolina's been looking for the past 2 years to get out of this. You know, the past couple years. I mean, even since the Super Bowl run, he's just been plagued with injuries. You know, and all you ever hear is, you know, Cam's dealing with this, Cam's dealing with that, and you know, they even sat him early last year when I believe they lost the game in, like, it was like week 13 or week 14 where they lost, and they just sat him for the rest of the season. You know?
Well, that was because he was dealing with the shoulder.
Yeah, he was dealing with the shoulder, and I mean, the whole rumor with the shoulder was he needs surgery, and if he had the surgery, he was going to miss this whole year. You know, and he refused to have the surgery. He said he's not going to sit out. You know, and I mean, like I said, since the whole Super Bowl, you could tell that the man's game has regressed. You know, and I don't know if it's due to, you know, how they signed Norv Turner. He's their offensive coordinator now, and how they're playing him because he doesn't run anymore. You know what I mean? Like, and it kind of reminds me of the Gurley situation where how they use Gurley and they're not really using him to his max abilities, and you're watching Cam and they're not using him to his max abilities because, I mean, Cam, we could all say it, Cam's best seasons is when he was out running and, you know, he was doing the whole Superman pose. You know, he was having fun with it, like he was dabbing. And he was out there. He's
a showman.
He was balling. Like he looked like the MVP of the league, but he was doing it his way. You know, he wasn't just sitting in the pocket, you know, like just reading receivers and, you know, looking off safeties and reading defenses and stuff like that. Like that, we all know that's not Cam. You know, and I think that's what they're trying to turn him into. They're trying to turn him into a pocket passer, and that doesn't fit his game. You know, you got to let Cam be Cam, and it's kind of sad to see where he fell from because Cam was on the up. Like he was dominant. And then they went out and they drafted McCaffrey, and it's like you're going to have McCaffrey and Cam in the same backfield. Like,
that's
dude,
scary.
That's insane. Like on a read option, where are you going to go? Are you going to dive for Cam, or are you going to stay home? Are you going to dive for McCaffrey or stay home for Cam? You know what I mean? Like it was maddening.
That's a crazy tandem.
You know what I mean? And like you watch Cam over the past 2 years, and you can clearly see the guy's regress. Like he can't even hit an open receiver to save his life. You know what I'm saying? Like balls are selling on him, balls are short. He's just very inaccurate. You know, and I don't know if it's due to him still being hurt, you know, or what they're trying to make him become, and it's just not working. And I mean, it's kind of the writing on the wall is there in Carolina. And this situation is kind of like the perfect situation for Carolina. It's like, okay, he's hurt, you know, let's part ways now. Like we could just, they're probably they're meeting with Cam right now, probably saying, hey, we're going to say it's a season-ending injury. At the end of the year, we'll wash our hands of it. You go play somewhere else, and we'll go forward with Kyle Allen, you know. And like you look at the receivers they have there, they have Moore and they have Samuels. And these dudes with Kyle Allen look like NFL receivers.
Well, even Greg Olsen.
Oh my God, dude, Greg Olsen, his career looked over with Cam. Seriously, like the dude looked like he looked like he shouldn't even be playing no more.
Mm-hmm.
With Kyle Allen, this dude was like
he went off. I started him this week on fantasy. I started him.
I think he had like 25 points.
Yeah, 25 points. I think 2 touchdowns.
It's crazy, like, and I've always had the mindset of going into fantasy is I'm not going to draft quarterbacks from Carolina because I know Cam is not going to deliver enough to these receivers for them to put up decent fantasy points. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, I was the same way. I always stayed away from Carolina.
yeah, I mean, it was just you got to stay away from him because the dude he lacks the ability for his receivers to get off. And now that they got Kyle Allen, it's like, all right, let me go on these waivers and see who these Carolina receivers are. You know, because now they're about to be diamonds in the rough because they got a quarterback that is accurate. You know what I mean? He is a pocket passer, which Cam is not. You know, and he fits the offense much better, much smoother. I mean, that's what he's built to do. That's what they're trying to make Cam to do, but that's just not Cam. You know? So, Carolina, like I said, for the past 2 years, I think they've been looking for this out. Now's a perfect opportunity. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, you know, because I think there's going to be a market for Cam, you know, and if you're Carolina, your best bet is to probably sit him, get him healthy, trade him when he's healthy. You know what I mean? And then, I mean, you look at the marketed teams like, I mean, Jacksonville, I know they signed Foles, but, I mean, Jacksonville will be a nice little fit for him. I mean, you have, who else needs a quarterback? Who else would need a quarterback?
Well, it depends on where the Dolphins land.
Miami, yeah. Depending what they do. I can't think of anybody else that really in need of a quarterback.
Maybe Cincinnati? I'm not. I mean, I've never been big on Dalton. You know, but I don't. I mean, at the way
Chicago.
No, I think Chicago's pretty anchored down on Trubisky. I think the way that Nagy is Nagy's kind of high on him. You know.
I don't know about that one, man. I don't know about that one.
I mean, I agree with you. I agree with you. But from the way that Matt Nagy has talked about, you know, and they seem like they are good with Trubisky for the time being.
Maybe even New Orleans.
Oh, you have Drew Brees and Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, but you have Brees for what, 1 year?
No, I think I could see Brees playing another 2 years.
Maybe. It depends. If they win the Super Bowl, he's done.
Yeah, if they win the Super Bowl, yeah. I could see him pulling a Peyton Manning and just saying, you know what?
Yeah.
I've won it, going out on my high horse.
Yep.
Give me my ring, and I'll see y'all in the sports booth.
Maybe even Denver. I mean, Flacco is.
I could see Denver, but they have their rookie too.
Is it Paxton Lynch? Is he still there?
No, they have a rookie. They
they have.
I can't think of his name right now.
Oh, I can't. It's not Hogan, is it? I know they had Hogan there in the preseason, but they did draft somebody too.
Yeah, they drafted a quarterback, and so I don't know. I don't think Denver would.
It's just gonna be interesting to see what happens with Cam. I mean, I agree with you. I think his time is done up in Carolina. I mean, for their best chance of winning games through Kyle Allen now. You know, because that last outing Cam had, I believe, was like on a Thursday night or
that was Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and I mean
he was just, wildly overthrowing.
I think he threw the ball 50 times, and it was just like you just seen balls sail on him. Like guys are wide open, running down the field, and it's like.
But I think that's the shoulder. That's the shoulder because he was real. There was a post game interview he did, and he was real defensive. When a reporter brought up his shoulder, he got real defensive about it. So, if at this point, if I'm Carolina, I'm telling this dude, like you said, we're going over here, come over here, step into my office, let's have this conversation. You're gonna get this surgery. You know, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna get your shoulder dealt with and taken care of, because we're just gonna pay you the rest of the season. We are gonna let you know we are gonna cut bait on the off season, so you need to go ahead, and it's in your best interest of your career. Get healthy. Use our facilities, and we can either try to work a trade for you in the off season, or we're just gonna cut bait.
Right.
I think ultimately they're gonna have to just cut bait, because I don't see a team really taking up his $19 million. I think it's $19 million for his final year. Unless the team restructures him for 3 or 4 years.
Possibly.
But I don't.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be. we'll have to wait till the season ends because teams get desperate. Their starting quarterbacks go down and they're just like, okay, we got to make something happen. You know what I mean? And so that's when you'll really see like more of a window for him and more of a field for him. Like what team could you see him going to? Because I mean, maybe even Pittsburgh. To be honest,
I was just gonna say Pittsburgh on a 1 year, maybe Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, the way Pittsburgh is, Big Ben is real big on coming back next year.
He is because he just signed that 3-year extension, I believe.
Yeah, so he's real like he's dug in.
Yeah.
On I'm coming back next year.
Which he should. I mean, he hasn't regressed completely at all. Like he can still play, but there's going to be a market for Cam. There's going to be a market for him. I mean, maybe even Carolina keeps him. I don't think they should. I don't think they will. But
no, that's $19 million. Like if you can cut bait in the offseason, have $17 million freed up in your cap space, what is that going to do?
And what, go after a quarterback in the draft? Or, I mean, just ride with Kyle Allen? I mean,
depending on how Kyle Allen plays, I mean, it's too early to really tell what this kid is going to do.
It is. It is. But, I mean, he put up some decent numbers. Like I said, he made his receivers look like receivers, And I know the receivers are happy. I mean, so, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to watch this whole Cam situation, like. I mean, he's another one I've been watching since college, and one of my boys is a huge fan of Cam, and I'd never really been into Cam that much, but, I had to give him his love with that whole MVP run. Like, the dude was looking amazing. He really did look like Superman out there, but the dude's fall from graces. I mean, he's not getting it done. I mean, just to put it in simple words, so I think this situation will probably be resolved sometimes in the off season, but I mean, it's a whole all wait and see type of deal, I guess.
Yeah, if I would really not be surprised if they came out in a week or two and just said, look, Cam's having, especially if Allen's doing, if he's balling out like he did on Sunday, I would not be surprised if they came out and said, you know what. We had a doctor go ahead and we got 2 or even 3 opinions. That's what's taken us so long. But, Cam has decided to go ahead and do what's best for his body and take these surgeries. They are going to be season-ending surgeries. We're going to let him rest and relax. But we're going to be moving on with Kyle Allen for the rest of this season. And then it's not going to be a surprise if, okay, get ready. Cam's going to be available. Next year.
Especially if Carolina wins. They come out and they win these next 2-3 games, Cam's done. You know what I mean? But if they come out and they lose maybe these 3 games, it kind of leaves a door open for Cam to come back.
Yeah, but then you got to look in, and I haven't looked, I hadn't even thought about this, would be what quarterbacks are going to become available. If let's say Allen doesn't come out and ball, let's say he goes 400, right? Let's say that the overall season for the Panthers is 400. We'll say what, 7-8? I'm sorry, not 9-7, or 7-9.
7-9.
7-9. I know how records work. I swear, guys. Even if they go 7-9 or 6-10, I mean they may be in contention to get an early first round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on how early they get, I don't think that they'll get first round, but they may be able to go ahead and pick up maybe even Hurts.
Yeah. Well, it depends where they land. I mean, because the top 2, I believe, clearly for this draft it's going to be either Tua or Hurts. I mean, not Hurts, Tua
Herbert.
Or Herbert, Justin Herbert, the guy from Oregon. So those was clearly the top 2. I mean, if they land high enough, they might be able to get Herbert, but it just depends who's up there and who's in the market for a quarterback. I mean, I mean, if you look at most teams in the NFL right now, everybody's pretty set at quarterback position, or
Yeah.
they still have a wait and see type of situation, you know? So, I mean, like, the only teams that are really desperate for a quarterback would probably be Miami. And that's really about it. I mean, that's really desperate for a quarterback. I mean, the Jets, they're not. They have Sam Darnold.
Buffalo has Allen.
Josh Allen, yeah.
But I mean, I could see Cam going to Buffalo depending on how Allen fits. But right now, Allen, like we were talking about a little bit ago, Allen's balling. You know, he's not going to go to the Patriots. Maybe Cincy. I can see Cincy. Maybe. I'm not sure on the Dalton contract. Baltimore, definitely not.
Maybe Minnesota if they're ready to move on.
I was going to say if they're ready to move on from Cousins, because second cousin, he's not doing what he's not living up to his contract.
Right.
So I mean, I can maybe see the Vikings. You know, he can fit in. He can fit in with that scheme. I think nice the way that they run the ball. I mean, because when you think about it, you have Thielen, you have Diggs, you have a solid defense.
Right.
You have Dalvin Cook. Granted, he stays healthy.
Well, this was a wild card. Maybe even the Raiders. I mean, because I've been hearing some whispers that, I mean, after Carr's performance against Minnesota, that it might be time. To move on from Carr. So, I mean, that might be a place that's going to be in the market for a quarterback, either in the draft or somebody like Cam. I don't think Gruden would go after Cam. I don't think he's just the type of quarterback he would want. I think Gruden would probably want to draft a quarterback and just groom one up himself. But, I mean, that's another situation that, I mean, I feel like should be paid close attention to, because it's the way it's trending. I don't think it's trending too well for Carr. I think Carr might be out of there.
We were talking about this even before the season started.
Yeah, we was.
You know, Carr I felt has done and tried to do everything over the top when it comes to appeasing Gruden, right? And rightfully so. I mean, you've seen these dudes last year arguing, going back and forth on the field. This wasn't like in the locker room where you're hearing about this through the team, you know, through teammates or through sources or, you know, front office, anything like that. Like, these dudes were literally on the field going at it, arguing back and forth. You know, the way that Carr looked game one, the dude was balling and was looking nice. Granted, he was playing the Vikings.
This last week?
This last week.
This
last week he was playing the Vikings in Minnesota. That's one of the toughest places to really play against that defense is when they're at home.
Yeah.
So, you know, I wasn't surprised by it at all, but I think soon, no, I don't think it's this week. It's coming up. They're not gonna be at home in Oakland, I think, for over the next 5 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, until November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have any home games.
No. And
so they're all on the road.
Yeah, and I think they'll probably lose every single one of these games, to be honest. I mean, that first week against Denver, they played off emotion, and we talked about that.
Yeah.
They can play completely off emotion from the whole AB situation, and, you know, it wasn't the real Raider team, you know. So what we seen this weekend, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a real Raider team, but it's somewhere in between that, you know, from what we seen against Denver to what we seen against Minnesota. So, I mean, that's just, like I said, that's just a situation to keep a close eye on, because I feel like he has a short leash. And Gruden,
what about Tampa Bay?
That's another situation. That's another one where I feel like that's probably going to happen. That's
anything's an upgrade.
Jameis is probably done there. He's done, unless he could get them to the NFC Championship game, which he won't. He's probably done there. He's probably going to be a backup quarterback from here on out. So
he'll start to be one of the journeymen.
Yeah,
he's going to start entering that journeyman.
Yeah,
but would you really want to have Jameis as your journeyman though?
No.
Me personally, I would not.
I wouldn't.
Just because of off the field antics and semantics that he has, you know, in his resume.
It just all depends, to be honest, though. Too, it's like who's available, and I mean, he is an NFL quarterback. He knows how to work a playbook. He knows how to. I mean, the guy knows how to call plays and run an offense. So, I mean, it all depends. But if I had a choice, nah.
I'm not. I would go after a Case Keenum.
Yeah, most definitely.
You know, I would do exactly what the Eagles did.
Most definitely.
You know, and pick up a legit journeyman, not just someone that, okay, you're a vet, you know, because just because you're a vet doesn't mean that you're going to be a good influence
Right.
on a rookie quarterback or a younger quarterback.
Right.
So, and that leads me to, and I know I forgot to mention this earlier, with the whole Daniel Jones thing. What do you think is going to happen with Eli?
That one, that's interesting too. I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know what they're gonna do with Eli, to be honest. And I feel like it all depends on Eli, though. You know, like if Eli comes to the organization, he's like, I feel like I can still play. They're gonna have to either work a trade or move him some way. You know, because I mean, and like I said before, it's going to depend on how the season goes. When teams get desperate, they'll get on the phone.
So Eli, there's two things about Eli right now. He has a no trade clause.
Oh yeah.
So he's going to have to be the one to go up to them and okay the trade. Where he only has 1 year left on his contract, and I think he's owed like $12 million. I could see if he gets traded and says, you know what, I don't want to be on the bench. I want to go ahead and I want to play. I could see him for this year, because I know we're talking about Cam and where he can go next year. Since there's 1 year left on this contract, I could see Eli going to Jacksonville, or I could even see him going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but you said Jacksonville got Foles, and they just signed him a fresh contract. His ink's not even dry in his contract.
Yeah, no, we're talking about for 1 year. Foles is, I think.
Foles will be back next year.
Yeah, but Eli's done after this year.
So what? So you gave Foles what? I believe they gave him like $40 million, didn't they?
Yeah. And Eli has 12.
To me, I would more so do it if I'm the Bears than the Jacksonville. That makes more sense for the Bears, because the Bears are almost close to competing for a Super Bowl. You know, and you inserted Eli, that could put him over the top, maybe for one last run.
Playoff Eli is.
We know it's special.
He's different.
Exactly.
I don't know what goes on with that man.
That man is
special. I
special.
can see that, or I can see Pittsburgh.
That too. I mean, that one will more so depend on Big Ben's availability. If he's still hurt, then yeah, you pull.
No,
the
he's out for
on
the
that.
season.
For this season,
Yeah.
for this season, yeah. No, I thought you meant for next year, but for this year, yeah, I would. Or
yeah, because this is his last year. After this year, he is done for.
Or you could even do Carolina. Bring him
Depending on how Josh Allen is.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen. Yeah. Too many Allens, man. Depending on how he plays out.
Yeah, that might be a mess. I mean, you get rid of Cam, you got Kyle Allen in, and then you bring in Eli. That might be a mess.
And Eli's a mess too. Right now, Eli's a mess. But I don't know if I really see Eli saying trade me.
Nah, I don't think he's that type of guy. You know, I really don't think he's that type of guy. So I think he'll, at least for this season, I think he'll stick it out. He'll help mentor Daniel Jones. And I think at the end of the year, if he still wants to play, I think he's going to try to get out of New York.
Thank you for tuning in to the latest episode of At the Office. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, click that bell notification so you will be notified every time we upload. Also, check our friends out at Red Pill Station on Instagram as well as YouTube. You can also catch us on all of our social medias at Real At The Office on Twitter and Instagram. We will catch you in the next one.